Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to briefly touch on the breaking story that Jadon Sancho has returned to United training. I think this is a topic worth making a brief, few-minute video about to discuss how this happened, why, and where things may go from here. As I shared on Monday, Jadon Sancho was due to return to training at some point this week, and it had not actually been decided whether he was to depart or not, that there were ongoing discussions about how to proceed and if it was worth resolving this situation and if it could be resolved. Well, United have announced shortly ago that Sancho has returned to training. He's pictured here with Mason Mount, Marcus Rashford, Wan-Bissaka in training, working, back in business. And what it says as well, he returned for testing on Wednesday following his loan spell during the second half of the season. He then trained with the group on Thursday. He met with Erik ten Hag earlier this week to sort things out. And, as we can see, he's busy, he's working, he's there, he's back, he's training. What else is there to say about it? So I think that in general, the way to look at this situation and as it stands as of now is like this. Number one, the management team, have shared this before, were unhappy with the way that the Sancho thing played out last year. Regardless of who was in the right or in the wrong, the end result was a huge expensive asset on big wages not playing and essentially having his value completely ruined to the point where it's hard to even sell a player in that situation because you aren't sure. Nobody's going to sit there and believe that, you're going to play him because he has this dispute and you're unable to field him. Nobody's going to pay money for that because they know you're just wasting money all the time. They were unhappy with that overall situation. In general, they were unhappy with the disharmony and the discord that occurred within the dressing room as a whole. And this was a big part as well of the shakeup in terms of the coaching changes. And I don't think it's a total accident or surprise that there were certain departures as well alongside this or just prior to this occurring. That being said, obviously as well, Jason Wilcox knows Jadon Sancho from working with him as a youth player in the City Academy. As well, Dan Ashworth has a huge focus on harmony, on improving the communication and alignment of people within the club. And I think that there has been a big push from Ineos management and their appointees to fix this situation and to get it settled. Now, could Jadon Sancho still leave? Absolutely he could. That part is up in the air at this point in time. If a good offer comes in and he wants it, I would expect he will still depart. However, what United do not want to do is loan out a player, not get his wages covered, not have an obligation included in that, and just essentially be paying money for no use of an asset. They could use him. If he can play well and it's the right environment and if he can get on with things, then why not? It's better than losing money. So it's going to be very dependent on what comes in terms of offers and what Jadon Sancho wants. The situation between him and Ten Hag as they sat down face to face, I'm quite positive at the behest of the actual adults running the club now, pushing for a resolution of this situation, had a discussion. It's not stated whether there was an apology. I think that's on purpose, as it wasn't trying to put a situation where, one person is at fault, but they agreed to move past it, to put it to bed. That's what it means, drawing a line under it, to move on. The issue is finished. The topic is resolved. You just go on. You don't have to figure out how it was resolved. You don't have to get into all of that. The situation is over with. He will not be playing on Monday, per the information coming out from the club on this. But he will be available for full selection for the rest of the preseason. And given all the players not returning, will very likely play and feature in or be involved in the following game against the Rangers, against Rangers the next Saturday. So I think this is overall a very positive situation now for United. I think this is the right way to go about things, and it's not about Jadon Sancho. It's not about whether he is a great player, whether he's going to come in and tear everything up and he's going to do amazing or anything like that. Everybody's going to see this differently, but the point is, in a high stakes, high performance environment, There's a lot of money, a lot of things at stake, a lot of things involved in all of this. And you cannot afford to have the things that have happened last season continue. And so what this does at worst gives United an asset, a playable asset that they can use and see how Jadon Sancho does and gets on with people. And if Erik ten Hag is open to it, it's not player power. It is them resolving and finding common ground and working on it. You've got new coaches to work with. You've got new staff to work with. So they don't have any reason to keep Sancho away. The other opportunities, of course, could be he performs well, a good offer comes in from Juventus or so, and he moves. So all of it is still on the table, but that is the point. It's all still on the table now. Instead of removing half of the options and having a situation where you're forced into a bad position, that is now resolved. And so I think this will be viewed as a positive by everybody. I think it also is going to improve just the general relationships and feelings within the club that, there are people who are running the place that are going to put the club and success of the club first. So he could leave, he could stay. Point being, we're moving past the petty things that have been going on. I'm not calling Ten Hag petty, but I said a long time ago when this started, I felt that Ten Hag had a right to do what he wanted to do, but at the same time, it should have been resolved by somebody else at the time. It should never have gotten to that point, and that is on the management, and there's been years of history with Sancho, with other players that have fallen out, with other issues that have happened, that it's not on the manager. It's on the situations at the club that have allowed things to fester for years and years and years. And to me, this is a step forward to say that the club are no longer going to let these situations ruin the dressing room, ruin relationships with players, and cause all these sorts of issues. It's going to be run by adults with experience, with football people who are going to be making the right decisions and to work towards harmony and the best performance in the dressing room. It is a good thing. It is a good thing. If a year ago, Muratad actually stepped in to resolve the situation before it came to a head with Ten Hag because there were a bunch of warning signs about this, then I think it would have been a lot different. And now we have people who are willing to do so and to look at it and say, look, this is how this needs to be resolved. Let's deal with it. And I'm sure they've had their own conversations with Ten Hag and with Sancho behind the scenes on top of that to make sure everybody's on the same page. So real positives to me on this. I see only good things for the future when it comes to Sancho. And that's what I was waiting for. I didn't talk about him in today's video because I was looking to see, what's the outcome of this. Because it was very quiet, very much not discussed. But I knew he was supposed to return this week, and that they were going to have these discussions. And so now we see what the outcome is. It's a positive. Now we will see what the outcome is moving forward. If United, if he turns up well and if everything's great, then United have another good forward. If not, or if a good offer comes in and he wants to go, then he will go. But they're not under the gun to say, we have to accept whatever comes in or have this player sitting in the youth team again, which is a bit ridiculous from a footballing club standpoint. So for me, good news overall, just in the precedent of what it sets for the club. I think it's fantastic news, and I think it's a sign of the new way that things will happen at the United and the end of the shit that we've seen. In addition to that, we should still expect to see our new striker signing announced very shortly. So see you soon. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below.